short section. Nelson actually opens and ends with a couple Bible references. He's got Proverbs kind of
Mm-hmm.
there at the forefront, and then
Mm-hmm.
also right at the end. If you guys haven't read that, go back. Proverbs 13:22 is the one that he opens up with, and he says, "A wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children." And then the last reference that he has is Proverbs 27:24, and he says, "A crown is not secure for all generations."
Mm.
So I sat there, I started thinking about that, and there's two things that kind of come to my mind. One is, in order for somebody to leave an inheritance, is you've got to develop the skill set and you've got to accumulate the wealth in the first place to be able to pass that down. The second thing is that crown or wealth is not secure for all generations. Is my takeaway from that is you have to develop a framework or a system of passing the knowledge down from one generation to the next. And I think that's what he's providing here with infinite banking. Is he's actually providing both pieces for us. So as I look in that section, that was two big takeaways. Um, in regards to stewardship, what I wrote down is we're given an opportunity to provide a wealthy mentality to succeeding generations over a long period of time. But it's our option, it's our choice, and whether or not we actually do that. Um, and the thought that I had there was actually I saw an interview. They're interviewing a parent. This is a couple years ago, and the reporter had asked this dad. They were talking to this dad because he had two sons in the NFL.
Mm.
And the reporter was like, "Well, what's the secret sauce? Like, what did you do? How did you do this?" And he said, "There is no secret." And he said that there's no lazy kids. There's just lazy parents.
Mm.
And he said, so every
Mm.
day I
Mm.
was up getting these kids out to work, right? Making sure they put in the time and the effort to make sure that they were physically fit and they were mentally aware of this game and all that stuff. And so it was a great testament to us, right? As parents, as we have an obligation. It's up to you whether you choose to follow through with that or not.
Mm. That was good, Cam.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks. I'm wrapped up. That's everything I had for stewardship.
When you
What do
had
you got?
mentioned a crown is not secure
Mm-hmm.
for all generations, you know what popped in my head? Well, I don't think you
No.
watch it, Game of Thrones.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Really?
especially watching House of Dragons. I mean,
Mm-mm.
it's kind of it is definitely not secure of that crown is going to pass down. Uh, great points, Cameron. And because one thing he had talked about is, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And one plan or one option that Nelson had laid out is having the grandparents get a policy on the grandkids. And in part, you have the generation typically with the most disposable income securing the death benefit and these policies on the youngest generation. And what I think happens with a lot of our listeners, what I notice, most of our clients aren't coming from money.
Mm.
Most of them are the ones that are trying to build and figure this out themselves. And most of them, and me included, really didn't get fed into or taught about finances.
Till you
And
met me. Then I taught you everything you know.
kind of, sort of. Yeah. Um, but since nobody taught me, and probably a lot of people, if you're there, nobody taught you, it is what it is. But at least for me, I want to make sure that my kids and my grandkids cannot say the same. So we're big proponents of getting policies on that next generation. And what's typically happened, kind of where I feel my obligation is, I'm getting policies on my grandkids. I also got policies on my kids as well. But part of the what we're instituting with my kids and grandkids is that this is what I'm doing for you as my grandson, and you need to do that for your grandson. And we need to start planting those seeds early. And because not only is it of securing their death benefit and having a pile of money, the important thing is teaching these kids how to use money and how money works. And the best way to do it is for them to do it with their own dollars. And they can do this with a policy, maybe even taking a loan to start some little side business, or if they wanted to do something on YouTube or whatever it is, it's going to take some capital. Well, let's teach them to use that policy to finance some of their assets so they can learn when they have a small amount of money. So when they have larger amounts of money, they're going to be more confident on how to properly use that.
You want to see the entire episode? Click here. If you want to learn how investors use infinite banking to increase their returns and lower their taxes, click here. If you want to see if infinite banking is for you and you have some questions, hop on a discovery call with us and one of our coaches. The link for that will be in the description.